Hey there, today's video is on the top 10 pros of living in Salt Lake City, Utah from someone who isn't from Salt Lake City, Utah. I'm going to give those to you honestly, and I'm getting started right now. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Greg Spackman. I'm with the Living in Salt Lake City channel. So if you want to learn everything about what it's like to live here, eat here, sleep here, play here in the Salt Lake City area, then click the subscribe button and the bell to be notified every time I do new videos. I've been getting a ton of people lately that are reaching out to me about moving to the Salt Lake City area. They're not sure which area to call home, and I absolutely love it. So give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, and let's talk about your journey here to Salt Lake City. I'm going to work backwards today from pro number 10 to pro number 1, so stay around to pro number 1. Pro number 10 today is your job market here. It's really strong here in the Salt Lake City area. Unemployment rate is currently really low at 2.9%. Some of the top companies that you might find for employment here in the Salt Lake City area are Teleperformance USA, Super Value Inc., Intermountain Healthcare, Wealther Generators LLC, Smith's Food and Drug, Interbank USA, and Barrett Gold. And there's a number of companies. There's probably thousands of places for you to work, but those are just some of the top employment creators here in the Salt Lake City area. We also have an area called Silicon Slopes that's in the Lehigh area that's about 30-45 minutes south of Salt Lake City, just to give you an idea. Pro number 9 is one of the coolest things about living in Salt Lake City that you can't get in most other areas, and that's the ski resorts. There are 15 in Utah. There are 10 within an hour drive of Salt Lake City, Utah. So where else in the U.S. can you live with the best snow on earth and be an hour away at most to those ski resorts? Of those 10 ski resorts, there's 156 ski lifts, 1,389 named runs covering almost 32,000 skiable acres. The major resorts in the area are Park City, Deer Valley, and then soon to be Mayflower, Brighton, Solitude, Alta, Snowbird, Sundance, Powder Mountain, Beaver Mountain, Cherry Peak, Nordic Valley, Snow Basin, Eagle Point, and Bryan Head are down south. My favorite of all those ski resorts is Brighton. So if you get a chance to go to Brighton, you definitely should try that, at least for one of your ski resorts. The least crowded ski resort is Powder Mountain, and that's because they limit the number of lift tickets each day they sell. The most challenging ski resort is Snow Basin, and the easiest ski resort is Woodward. The largest is Park City, of course, with 330 trails. So you have a ton of skiing and snowboarding that you're going to be able to do. A few of the resorts won't allow snowboards, so you're going to need to check that out if you're a snowboarder, but you probably already know which ones you can and can't go to. Pro number 8 is going to be Salt Lake City International Airport. You can get a $28 flight with tax and everything to Las Vegas. You get one carry-on, so it's a smaller carry-on, it has to fit under your seat, but how cool is that? $28 to fly to Vegas one way. The airport itself is awesome. They're upgrading it right now, adding some more terminals. If you happen to fly to Terminal B, you do have a mile walk, and they do have the moving walkways and a cart thing that shuttles you, or you can get a wheelchair to whiz you, and those people are cooking when they are taking their people. But the airport is amazing, has some great food choices in there as well. They have a pickup sticks, for instance. You can't get that anywhere else. And then they have like a Shake Shack in there. So you got some good places to eat if you get to the airport early. If you're picking up family or friends from the airport or being picked up, they have this really cool cell phone lot that you can go to that's huge, that holds all the people. And you're going to see like 30, 40, 50, 60, 100 cars in the lot waiting for their different people that are on the different flights. But it's super convenient. It's about 45 seconds to the terminal, and it's easy to get in and out of, which is awesome because I've been to some other airports where it's nasty and it's not fun to pick people up. They have a numbering system and a letter system, so you're going to be at like 7C, for instance. So when you land and walk across the little walkway and down the escalator, you just tell them what number you're at, and then they can pick you up. We typically walk down and then go all the way to the end. That way, there's less people, and it makes it easy for your people because they can go in the outer lane and then cut to the inner lane once they're at the end. But the airport is awesome. I've flown out of numerous airports in my life, and it's one of the best airports that I've been to. Pro number 7 is something a client of mine from YouTube just let me know about, and I didn't realize it was such a big thing, and I did some research on it, but stargazing. So if you've never seen the Milky Way, in Utah, you get some of the best views of the sky because we have so many clear sky nights. And then the amount of light pollution is really, really good. So you can check all that out with some apps and websites that tell you where to go. A graveyard happens to be one of the best places to go for you to do that. But the client of mine loves to take photos of the sky. And the one he sent me via text the other day was awesome. So if you're into stargazing or not, it would be something cool that you have here in Utah that you don't get everywhere else. Pro number 6 is the public transportation. And public transportation in Utah is awesome. Well, it's not as great as living in, say, Manhattan, but it is amazing. We have something called the track system, the front runner train, and then your buses, Uber and Lyft. But the track system is awesome, especially if you live not far away from one. They all kind of interconnect, and you can get to the airport, to downtown Salt Lake, to University of Utah. You can get to Draper, South Jordan, and then you can get to like Provo and whatnot via the front runner train. So you have different options to get around public transportation, and it's pretty amazing, and it's definitely affordable for you to use. Pro number 5, and it's something I've only been to one of them, but the Mighty 5, they call it, and that's our Utah National Parks. We have Zion, we have Bryce, we have Capitol Reef, Arches, and Canyonlands. So you should definitely make time to go see these. These are amazing things. Some of them require passes to do certain hikes in them, but the Red Rock is just incredible to look at, and I think once you've seen one of the parks, you'll want to go to all of them. They also have Goblin Valley, which I want to go to. That looks really, really cool from the photo, and just a ton of other outdoor things that you can do, like the Mighty 5. Pro number 4, and it's something that I really like here about living in Salt Lake City, is the weather. So summertime, it doesn't get super, super hot typically. We get a week or two at most where it's pretty warm, where we get into the hundreds. I don't think it gets higher than maybe 107, but it's hot for a few days, a week, maybe 2 at most. But most of the summer, it's in the 90s, and which is awesome, especially at nighttime. Once it starts to cool down, you can just sit outside in your backyard, enjoy the views of the mountains, and then just relax because it's not humid. So humid is one of the things that I hated when I lived in Nashville. I wanted to get away from the humidity, and I love that about Utah. Fall time, the leaves change colors. They are amazing to go look at. You're going to see hundreds or thousands of people doing their family portraits out in the canyons when we get that 3 or 4 week window where the leaves are changing, and you can go do that. It's not as hot, so it's cooler. Sometimes we get snow in the fall. Typically that doesn't happen in the fall, but we can, and you're going to really enjoy fall. It's my wife's favorite time of year. You get to wear a sweater again because it gets chilly at night, and that leads you into wintertime, and wintertime, it can get snowy here. This year was the worst year of snow that we've had in a long time. I think people told me like in the last 10, 12 years, it's the most snow that we've gotten. And it wasn't even that much snow, really. It just felt like it snowed often, but we were never able to go do anything we wanted to do, like go to the grocery store, go shopping, go to anything, because they do such a good job with the roads here, and the fact that we have all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive vehicles, and my Jeep can go through pretty much everything, which is awesome. So I'm really never stuck because of my Jeep for sure. But the wintertime was awesome. It does get colder, in your 10s, 20s, 30s, in that range, so you have to dress accordingly. And you do track snow around, but it's not bad. I thought it would be much, much worse the wintertime. And since this was our worst wintertime, I definitely feel like I can handle anything. The first year we were here, I want to say it snowed maybe 4 feet total. And we got like 12 to 20 inches, I think, in one of the snows. And then once we cleared everything away, it was awesome. Kids got to play for a few days in the snow. This year they got to play longer in the snow, where we had to force them to go outside, where last year they wanted to go outside. Springtime, amazing. Everything starts to grow again. The trees start to get leaves. The weather is awesome. It's warmer, so you're kind of tired of the cold winter month. And now all of a sudden we're into spring and it's warm. It's in the 60s and 70s for a few weeks. before we get into the 80s, 90s, and 100s in the summertime. So I feel that the weather here is amazing. And since it's not humid, it's even better. Pro number 3 about living here in Salt Lake City is our sports. So if you're a sports fan, you got a ton of different sports. You have the Utah Jazz, which is the number one thing that everybody talks about, followed up closely by the University of Utah for college football. Their football team is awesome. It's been to the Rose Bowl the last 2 years. We'll see if they can make it this year. So far, they look okay this year. BYU has a great football team, and when BYU and University of Utah play, it's an amazing game. If you're a hockey fan like myself, then you have the ECHL team, the Grizzlies, to watch, and that's cool. Then you have an MLS soccer team called the Real Salt Lake. If you're a rugby fan, we have a professional rugby team called the Warriors. And then baseball, you get the AAA baseball, the Salt Lake Bees, and they're for the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, or LA Angels, or whatever they're called these days. But their team, and they are in Salt Lake, and they're currently getting ready to move to Daybreak, which is going to be awesome for me since that'll be like 5 minutes away from my house. So we will definitely go more often to baseball. And especially it's super nice to watch baseball here because it's not humid. Pro number 2 is the mountains are amazing. They're beautiful. They don't look real when you're seeing them. They look like, I want to say, because it's so awesome and the 3D effect that you have with your eyes of seeing them. And they look cool with snow and without. So you get snow on them for about half the year, and then half the year they don't have snow. So you get, once you get tired of looking at them one way, then they change. And they also make it easy for you to get around since you can just look out and you know that they're to the east. So you can pinpoint where you're located really, really easy. I think it'd be really hard to get lost using the mountains to your east and then the Copper Mountain out to your west. It'd be tough for you not to know where you're at all times or to be able to find where you need to go. Pro number 1, and this is my favorite reason for living here in Salt Lake City, Utah, and that's the outdoors. So comment below what your favorite thing to do in the outdoors is, or heck, tell me that you hate the outdoors, but you can camp, and we went camping up in Strawberry Reservoir. We didn't camp this year for some reason. I think it's because my niece was out of town, and she's the one that leads the charge to most of our outdoor stuff. But my nephews didn't push us to go camping. We were going to do it one weekend, and then it didn't work out that weekend, and I just haven't gone back to it. But you can fish, you can fly fish, you can boat. You have some amazing lakes for you to enjoy all the different activities on the lake. Like we take our paddle boards, and you can take a canoe, kayak, just do all the boating things, be pulled behind a boat. You can water ski, you can mountain bike and some really cool trails. My favorite thing to do is to hike, and we've done a bunch of waterfall hikes. We did this one recently. Pretty much enjoy everything to do with the outdoor. Stargazing is another thing that I just found out that we could do here, and it's incredible in Utah. So we will definitely find some places to go do that this coming year. The weather here in Utah, with it not being humid, and the other cool thing is that it doesn't get dark until 9, 10 o'clock at night. So you can easily work all day, get home, grab a quick bite to eat, and then go hit a trail. And lots of people do that, and I would recommend that if you can. Although dry causes you to need chapstick, lotion, and drink lots of water, it is amazing here in Utah for all the outdoor activities that you can do. So those are my top 10 pros of living in Salt Lake City, Utah. If you'd like more information, please reach out to me and my team. We'd love to help you make that move here to the Salt Lake City area. Until next time, be rad.